This episode of the Grand Rising Show was This episode of the Grand Rising Show was brought to you by Autochthonous Assembly, where the real work gets done. Autochthonous Assembly is a gathering of the minds that do the work. Now, for many of our first-time subscribers and first-time visitors, you may be wondering who Autochthonous Assembly are. You can find this information about our mission statement and our core values on the website at autochthonousassembly.com/about. We are a nonprofit organization dedicated to raising up Indigenous American voices by using genealogy, also known as family history, or your family tree, which is the study of families and the tracing of their lineages and history. Genealogists use oral interviews, historical records, genetic analysis, and other records to obtain information about a family and to demonstrate kinship and pedigrees of its members. Our core values are the foundation of our company, which is essential to our success and serve as a lens through which we evaluate every business decision. Those core values are, but are not limited to, integrity, which is knowing and doing what is right, respect, which is treating others the way you want to be treated, responsibility, which is embracing opportunities to contribute, and servant leadership, which is serving the common good. Now, at Autochthonous Assembly, we have a couple of goals here. And our first goal and foremost of the reason why we do everything that we do is to ensure that we help you do your genealogy and connect back to your tribe and find out where you are from. Everything that we do from the standpoint of the Grand Rising Show and all the information that's posted on the website is dedicated to that one specific purpose, helping you find your genealogy, find your relatives, find your family so that you will know exactly who you are. And if you choose to, tie back into your tribe, whether that tribe is a Native American tribe, an American Indian tribe, whether it's allowing you to determine which house in Africa that you belong to, or what clan of Scandinavia or Europe or France that you belong to. Either way, our goal is to do just that, help you find out who you are so you know exactly where to start. We are not here to tell you who you are, and we're not here to tell you who you are not. We're just here to help you discover your beginnings. Another one of our missions is to help you become financially independent so that you can help your 7 generations and be able to put a stable foundation for you and your relatives. And if you should choose to use this information that we provide free of charge to help not only yourself, but your community and your tribe, then we will do everything in our power to make sure that gets done as well. And remember, our goal here is to make sure that we help you get exposed to this information to put you in the best situation possible. So now what I'm going to do now is return it back over to the panel to see if there was anything I missed, and I will go ahead and get set up so we can get ready and get digging into this information. Panel, take it away.
Warning, warning, warning. Hard hats, pickaxe, shovels, boots required.
talk to this.
Grand Rising, Grand Rising. Hope everyone is doing well. No sellout is in the back, cutting up already. How's everyone doing?
Grand Rising. I didn't know it was live yet.
Really? You didn't know? You didn't know? I didn't tell you. I didn't count down. I didn't tell you. Okay.
There was a countdown.
Yeah. There was. Okay. Okay. Fine.
How's everybody doing? Hey, Bones. What's going on with you today?
Yeah, anything special? Anything happening?
Today.
Yes, today.
On this nice September 18th Wednesday. How you say Wednesday?
Oh, we doing a Grand Rising show?
Yeah, we're doing a Grand Rising show and one more thing.
Oh yeah, it's somebody's born day today. Happy born day.
Hey, happy birthday, y'all.
Yeah.
No, not to them. It's your born day, boy.
Oh.
He tried to get away with it too.
I know. I would sing happy birthday, but I might shut the whole channel down. They were like, y'all not coming back no more.
You know, that's copyright infringement on the song. Wait a minute.
Knowing our luck, we'll get it. We'll get flagged for the happy birthday song. Knowing our luck.
We'll get flagged for hurting people's ears. That's what we'll get flagged for. Like, I didn't know you can get a noise pollution flag. I don't know you can get a noise pollution flag on YouTube. Yeah, man. Y'all send Bones some born day wishes out there. Let's give us some ones if you can hear us in the chat, okay? Let us know.
1 1 2
2 2 1 2
3 4 5 6 maybe.
All right.
No. Oh, okay.
Possibly.
Yep. That's it.
Slow down. I don't see nobody in the chat going on.
You might have the way YouTube is right now. There's a lot of things going on. So if every once in a while, if everybody would check the top of your chat, make sure it's on live chat and not top chat. Because if you have it on top chat, sometimes you'll see that people may have disappeared. But
yeah, some people.
Yeah, just top your chat. So keep that in mind. Yeah.
Got some ones. All right.
So how's everybody doing? Everybody doing all right?
Doing grand. Doing all right.
Yep. No complaints.
I might miss the few times when I'm trying to cough, but I'm all right.
Okay, but you know, you keep some germs over there, man. Don't be a germ man today. Not today. Not today. Want to send a shout out to all the new subscribers that have come on. Want to send a shout out to the A2 silent majority, Tigris Assembly silent majority, the ones that make up the majority of the numbers, the ones that allow us to do what we do while y'all are listening and taking this information and use it to help and benefit your community and your relatives. Again, just because we don't hear from you and we don't see it, that don't mean we don't know and don't appreciate you. So just want to give that much needed and warranted appreciation. And also to the best chat ever on the planet right now. Coming to the stage live. It's the A2 chat. Show your love. No, I'm just playing.
See, it ain't us, it's him.
Grand Rising David Corey. Grand Rising Oak Cliff. Grand Rising.
David Corey. To access it, it's at the top, and you press the button on the right-hand side, and it'll open up a panel where they say live chat and top chat. Press the live chat button.
Exactly. Grand Rising Enrique. Grand Rising Joe 47. I'm gonna say Grand Rising David Corey just in case I missed him. Grand Rising Macadam 1. Grand Rising Creek Running Water. Grand Rising Shiva Primal. WC in the house. Grand Rising Alton Clay. That was nice. He had the one instead of the one. Oak Cliff had the one, WON. Grand Rising Copper Chopper 803. Grand Rising Jeffrey Gordon. Why you ain't tell us it was your cousin born day coming up? Anyway, Grand Rising Muskogee G.
You try to make her forget, I guess. I don't know.
I'm just taking shots, just taking shots. Grand Rising, Jay Susquehanna. Who else we got? I think that's it for now. If I missed you, which I always miss somebody. I don't know how that happens. But if I missed you, just let me know, and I'll give you your shout out. Either myself or somebody.
I'll do the ones that I haven't heard. Alton Clay, you got Alton Clay? What up, Alton Clay?
Yeah, I said Alton Clay, but it's okay.
Acadon one, I'm sure you got. I think you got everybody. The rant. All right.
Yeah.
All right, I'm good.
Yeah. We did it. P there, Mama there, C
We
there.
missed you. We did it on purpose. No, I'm joking. No, we didn't.
Don't do that. But yeah, we missed you. We did it. No, I'm just playing. Or am I? So how's everybody doing today, man? How y'all doing? Any news, any information, any updates y'all want to let the chat and the Tactics Assembly Silent Majority and the new subscribers know about?
We officially got a branch of BB&T listening to the Grand Rising show this morning.
Grand Rising.
Grand Rising to the BB&T branch.
That's what's up. Grand Rising, Big Hawk. That's what's up. Oh yeah, now I forgot to tell. I told y'all, but I didn't tell the chat. Tell everybody else. Afua Jones has a nonprofit here in Northern Virginia, and because of the work that she's been doing and taking the information from A2, she actually has a HUD meeting with the director of HUD in the Northern Virginia area. So we will be speaking with them on the 26th at 5 p.m. So stay tuned and we'll let you know how that goes. So
that's why we say apply this information, use it.
Yeah, I mean, that's basically what it boils down to. We can be everywhere that you are as long as we know where you are and what you need help with. So keep that in mind. We are not able to do this by ourselves. No one's able to do this by ourselves. We need your help. We need you to let us know what's going on in your communities. Because if you don't know what's going on in your communities, or if you don't tell us, how do we know? The only reason I know what's going on in Tifton is because of Bones. The only reason I know what's going on in Virginia Beach and Norfolk is because of Copper and Othello. The only reason I know what's going on in North Carolina is because of Free. The only reason I know what's going on in Louisiana is because of Carrie Bay. So we know what's going on because we communicate with each other and we are in the communities talking to the people. So, if you're doing something in your community or you know somebody that's doing something in the community, please let us know so we can support. If nothing else, give you a shout out or let people in our community know that they may be able to have access to things that could help you where you at. Just because the states have different constitutions, that does not mean that those states don't use some of the same programs. Some of those programs may use some of the same blueprints, templates, and guidelines. So just keep that in mind. Did I miss anything, Bones?
I mean, that's the best thing that you can do. Nobody knows your needs better than you. And we all heard this growing up. Closed mouth don't get fed. So we got to start communicating amongst each other, reaching out to each other. If we say we here for the next 7 generations, so let's start building today,
Real talk. So, is there anything that y'all want to lay out there before we hit this clock? The people with the ratchets hand out the equipment and we get to work? I mean, anything anybody want to say? Oh, Big Hawk says, I got a question. What's up, Big Hawk? What you got, bro? Ain't that how one rap verse starts? I got a question. The serious is cancer. Who can keep the average dance? I have as a heart attack. Nobody smiling. Ain't that right, Cam? Oh, I'm sorry. Old school hip hop.
You did the whole verse. You know, ain't that how song starts. You just did the song.
Ain't how I saw it. I was like, hold on. I'm waiting for the beat to drop.
Like, what happened to the beginning part? I missed that. I'm learning new lyrics.
David Corey talking about how you gonna think 7 generations but not up to date. Big facts. Big facts.
You gotta put the work in today so you can see the progress down the line. If you put garbage in, you get garbage out. You can only get out on what you put in.
Big Hog says, I'm in the timeline. Where is the Black Plague? That is a good question. I'm so glad you asked that question.
That is a fire question, actually.
Unfortunately, I don't know.
Maybe we can find out, though.
Yeah, we can find out. You know, we can look it up. That's a great question. We know that during the time of the coal mining, which is basically that's been happening since the early 700s. The black lung was a big disease, and you know some of the major pollution was big, but you don't hear about that when you talk about the timelines of the histories of the countries and how they're becoming industrialized. So yeah, the Black Plague. That's a good question. We'll have to look that up. I'm glad you brought that up. He says, I'm in the timelines. I want to know what a Black Plague is. The Black Plague is in Blackland. That was funny. All right, so we'll look that up.
It's 1300s, 1347, what, to 1351 or 1357? Yeah, 1351. 1347 to 1351.
This is going on during the same time as the Crusades then?
Yeah.
Wow. So,
They're spreading from Eurasia, starting in Eurasia, spreading to Europe.
The Black Plague, did that mean everybody turned black? Is that where they get that curse from?
It's like the black lung pop.
No, that's not it. Okay.
I'm glad you got that.
Big Hog says, could it be a strategy to get rid of the swarthy using the invisible weapon? I mean,
it could be because it lasted to 1750. And once you put that into the timeline, which is kind of crazy, that you're supposed to have this plague going on, but you got all this fighting, all this moving people back and forth, people coming, people going. So yeah, that's something to put on the calendar to dig deep into.
Grand Rising Lady J, hope all is well. And here's another question. Did the Black Plague really happen? Or is it just a narrative? I'm asking a question. Again, that's right, Macadam, allegedly. Did the Black Plague happen? Just like, remember, allegedly, all of the Indians were killed off because of blankets with polio. Well, no, not polio, but smallpox.
Smallpox. Yeah. Allegedly, we all came over here on the bottom of slave ships.
Mama, I made it.
Allegedly.
Yeah. Matter of fact, anybody got allegedly address? Because we need to go talk to allegedly.
I know, right? Get some beef with allegedly.
Yeah, allegedly is a block and down a corner from Theory. Yeah. Yeah. They in the same neighborhood.
Anybody got Theory address? Because I need to talk to Theory too.
Yeah, I know, right? That sounds like an R&B group. Theory and allegedly.
Big Hog said they took out 2/3 of the people in Europe. I mean, yeah, it's possible.
Yeah, it was supposed to kill 75 to 200 million people. Yeah.
Whoa.
75 million to 200 million people.
Oh, Cliff, be nice. Oh, Cliff says he stayed by Isus. Anyway, I'm gonna go ahead and punch this clock so everybody can get ready, get their hard hats on. Mess around, fool with y'all long enough. Keep me from doing my JLB. Gonna make me get fired. How you get fired from a non-profit and you volunteer?
Man, I know you ain't going out like that.
No problem, Big Hawk. That's, like I said, that's a good question. We definitely will dig into that.
Exactly. I mean, you know, here's the thing. when it comes to, and as much as you know me, I'm gonna say what I'm gonna say about whatever. When it comes to our community, and I use that loosely in air quotes. As much information that is out here, and as much information that's put out by all the YouTubers, all the conscious, aware community. I mean, there's a lot of true information. So yeah, there is a buzz, there is an awakening happening, but there also needs to be activity, and again, the house needs to be clean. So we're gonna leave that for later, but yeah, just do your research, question everybody. If they can't answer the questions, or they get mad because you question them, that should tell you something about them. So we are on Wiki Moors.
Dun.
Exactly. You said Germans had swarthy people. Was that the Holocaust? That was probably a Holocaust, but we can't say it was the Holocaust because a certain ethnic group has a stranglehold on the Holocaust, so we're just gonna leave it at that.
Man, they got that in the figure fold.
Big Hawk says, let's get to them Super Negro Saiyan Moors. So, yesterday we had some haymakers dropped on us. All of us got beat up at the same time with this information about these Moors. And
Concussion Tuesday.
Yeah, what we learned was that they are actually Berbers. And that the Moors, the term Moor is a derogatory term. Oh my gosh, my mouth's not working today. Is a derogatory term that was used by the Romans and the Portuguese, aka Franks, aka your Gauls, aka your Germans, all same people, all kinfolk, to negatively describe Muslims. They threw everybody into that category. They named these people Moors. If you were a Muslim, they named you a Moor. If you look like a Muslim, you were described as a Moor. So this is a derogatory term like the N-word is used on our people today. It is not a term, personally, that I feel, again, this is my opinion, and the views and opinions of TMH, aka Thomas Harrelson, do not reflect on those of Autochthonous Assembly nonprofit. So come at me. I don't feel that Moors is a term that should be used specifically when it was given by colonizers to a people that did not call themselves that. So if you got smoke, bring it to me. You know my address. We can have a conversation about it. That's how I feel. Because you wouldn't let somebody call you out your name, especially when you think about this. We all have screen names, right? And you know how people feel about people making negative or derogatory comments about their screen name. You chose that name. You're not gonna let somebody rename it, right? So why is it plausible or acceptable to allow some colonizer who you claim you don't like name your people or name the people that you say you come from? That makes no sense to me. And if it makes sense to you, that's fine, but please explain how it does. I mean, I'm curious, not throwing any shots. I'm just giving you my opinion. So I just find it, funny that we are out here as a community as a whole, melanated, swarthy, tawny, dubs, banging on each other about titles when all of us got our titles from our fake stepfathers.
Daddy.
You repping titles that some colonizer gave you, and we're wearing it with pride, and then we're banging on other people who got they fake titles from they fake stepdaddy. I don't get it. So my thing is, why use the term Moors when it is not what your people call themselves? That's all I'm saying. So again,
Wait.
go ahead.
I guess I missed something. You saying that the Moors call themselves Moors, but that's not the name. That's the name that they're.
No, the Moors don't call themselves Moors. They're Berbers from the land of Maghreb, and they never called themselves Moors. They were called Moors by the Portuguese and Spanish.
And which are the Romans, yeah.
Which are the Romans. They called the Berbers that. Then they attached it to the Arabs. Then they attached it to anybody that was a Muslim.
So,
and this is from the people. If this is the people from the land where the word originated from, and they telling you, doesn't it make sense to listen to the people that still live there to this day?
yes. I don't know. I'm not doing that a common sense thing.
I mean, well, common sense is not common because it's all about perspective and what you're exposed to. Like I always say, if you lived on a road or you lived in an area your whole life where every street is a one-way street, and then you go somewhere where you gotta look both ways because you're not used to looking both ways, and you get hit by a car, and somebody that's looking at you be like, why didn't that dummy just use common sense? Meaning, why didn't they do what I would have done? Well, they didn't live where you live. They weren't exposed to what you were exposed to, so how could they know to do what you did? So, just a thought, something to take into consideration. So that's where I'm coming from with the whole Moorish thing. I'm not telling you who your ancestors are. I'm not telling you where you came from. I don't know where you came from. So that ain't for me to decide or for me to tell you. But what I'm saying is, if you came from place A and the colonizer is calling it place B, and the people that lived in place A is calling it place A, why are you calling it place B? That's my only question. Same for those that rep the continent formerly known as Africa, aka Ethiopia, aka Libya, aka Kofri. Those were the original names of that continent. The colonizer called it Africa. Matter of fact, they only were talking about Tangier and Algiers, which is in the northern part of Africa. The rest of it was not called Africa until 2,000 years after the 700s. Why are you calling it Africa when the colonizer or the suppressor or the supremacists are calling it that, and you're repping it with pride? So okay. So I'm going to use a plagiarized movie's quote or name. Your name Toby. You know your name Toby. Your mama told you your name was Toby, but your name was Kunta. Your mama told you your name was Kunta, but you repping Toby, and you repping Toby with pride. But your name is Kunta. Where they do that at? I'm sorry. No. Makes no sense to me.
Oh, valid point. That's why digging all this up and pulling the veil back is important. So we know. So a lot of these titles and names are created constructs, and now you know what to stay away from. It makes it easier to identify the hijack.
Yeah. Grand Rising Albori. And that's just not a shop at over in the Europe continent. That goes for over here too. You are Cherokee, you repping Sioux, you repping Dakota, you repping all these tribes. Those are French words. Are you French? Are you a Frank? Are you a Gaul? Are you German? Then why are you using those terms? That's my only question. Go back to what your ancestors called themselves. If we truly are going to respect our ancestors, use their terminologies, not some colonizer's terminology. That doesn't make any sense. That is, to me personally, I believe, this is my opinion, I believe that's stupid. You want to get credit for something, but you're not using the correct name. How's that gonna happen? So that's just my 2 cents. So we talking about the Moors, we're talking about the Berbers, we're talking about North Africa, or the continent formerly known as North Africa. We're gonna get it all in today. We're gonna have some fun. We're gonna make you use those critical thinking skills. Something that they took out of school, by the way. Elbory says, I'm not cool with some outsider naming me. I run with, and I run with it. Oh no. So again, so it is what it is. So let's go ahead and get this reading on. No, Salah, you got the wiki Moors up? Or you need me to read? Because I can read, it won't be a problem. Well, I don't know.
You can start it off for me. I'll come in a minute.
Okay. Yeah, because, well, yes, for those that are concerned, we do have a new cab with new brakes, larger rotors, and a shorter stopping radius. And we have put and implemented 4-point seatbelt harnesses for the passengers for your safety. So
Othello got the wheel.
So he driving, but I still control the brakes. How about that?
Hold on. Wait a minute now. I don't know about that. It's like I told y'all, it's like we got that driving school car where the person in the passenger seat got control. TMA, you gonna be about to get in the back seat.
That's okay. Okay. I'm gonna use a cane. Hit the brake on time.
Or you can go. What was it? The Fat Boys back in the days, driving from the back seat with the coat hanger.
Coat hanger, whatever. Creek running water says TMHUR scholar. Creek, that ain't me, bro. I'm a student, bro.
That's not me, baby.
Really?
That's not me.
I'm a student like everybody else. Look. I'm new to this. I ain't even a year in, bro. I ain't even a year in. I just love my people, man. I'm just here for the people. We learn this together, but I appreciate you giving me that shout out. But no, I ain't no scholar, bro. So let's go ahead.
I learn a lot.
Really? This what we doing? You too big? You too big MC to me today? That's what we doing?
I'm trying not to cough, man.
Well, you on the wrong show for that. Let's go ahead and get to reading. The Moorish kingdom of Granada continued for 3 more centuries in southern Iberia. Now we know what southern Iberia is, right? Southern Iberia is the southern part of Spain and Portugal. Okay. On 2nd January 1492, the leader of the last Muslim stronghold in Granada surrendered to the armies of recently united Christian Spain after the marriage of Ferdinand II of Aragon and Isabella of Castile, the Catholic monarchs. So January 2nd, 1492. So here's something to think about. And see, I was nice. I didn't even use the brakes. I came to a rolling stop. That's what they call them in California.
Appreciate it.
This just happened in January 1492. I don't think people can appreciate. I'm gonna say this. I don't think we can appreciate what it takes to fully transition rulership. And think about this. This is a 1500s. So this is not. We're not dealing with technologically advanced or savvy individuals. This stuff is manual. So we have to change monarchs and everything that goes with it. So this happens in January 1492. When did they say Christopher Columbus sailed to the Caribbean?
1492.
I knew it was a number that rhymed.
Under the Spanish flag, right?
Shut up.
As an Italian. That's what they say, right? Correct me if I'm wrong. If I'm wrong, somebody please correct me.
That's what they'll say.
But according to French history, not my history, Italy was still under French control. According to the French, not TMH, not A2. According to the French, Italy was still under French control up until 1524 or 1525 time frame. Look it up. So if that's the case, how in the world did Christopher Columbus sail under the Spanish flag when they were under French control? No one's addressing that question. No one's addressing that question. That's question number one. Question number two. I'm like that 4-year-old. I got lots of questions. If France was in control of Italy, and France and Spain this time ain't really cool, because at this time we're still up under the Inquisitions and the I guess for lack of a better term, the Holy Wars. Spain is not yet Spain, according to Spanish records. According to the records of Spain, not according to A2, not according to anybody else. According to Spain, Spain does not become Spain till 1502. This is 1492. 10 years before Spain becomes Spain. So what is Spain at this time? Hispaniola. Why is it Hispaniola? Because at this time it's still under Roman control. What does Hispaniola mean? It's a Roman word that means Iberian Peninsula.
Bingo.
So if anything, Christopher Columbus, if was permissible by France, would have been flying under a Hispaniola flag or an Iberian Peninsula flag. Because Ferdinand and Isabella just got control of this territory. Where would they have gotten the money from to sing?
And they don't even have full control yet. They just got married. As you go further on, they didn't get control yet.
Right, they don't get control till later, and then it does become Spain. They don't name it Spain until 1502. So, can somebody please help me understand why that story don't make sense and why history, Spanish history, French history, and United States history are not lining up when all this is supposed to be happening simultaneously? I'll wait. Big Hawk says, and that would have been the Muslim flag. I ain't even want to go there, Big Hawk.
Fact, it would have been the flag of the Ottoman Empire. Because you got to remember, who ruled the Iberian Peninsula? The Ottomans.
And who are the Ottomans? More or less, you Moors. So, let's continue reading, shall we? The Moorish inhabitants received no military aid to rescue from other Muslim nations. The remaining Jews were also forced to leave Spain, convert to Roman Catholic Christianity, or be killed for refusing to do so. So now they fast forward to 1480, or they rewind to 1480. In 1480, to exert social and religious control, Isabella and Ferdinand agreed to allow the Inquisition in Spain. The Muslim population of Granada rebelled in 1499. The revolt lasted until 1501, giving the Castilian authorities an excuse to avoid the terms of the Treaty of Granada. Now you know why the Queen Isabella and King Ferdinand did not have control until 1502. It just says it right here.
Bingo.
Oh no.
What's wrong?
I'm just chiming in.
Oh no.
Oh, okay. I was like, did I say something wrong?
Nope.
Doodle Vision says, don't mind me, I'm just over here dancing with my umbrella to block those bomb fragments like Farnsworth Bentley. I like the way y'all move. He is killing it. Grand Rising Doodle Vision.
What up?
So, I mean, you know, we just trying to get it right. We're not trying to be right.
Think about it, though. They want you to believe that they had the time to set up an expedition while they fighting to get control to turn this into Spain. How?
It's your house way. I think I used it right this time. I normally use it wrong.
And why we still ain't hear about no Christopher Colombo yet? We hear about the wedding in 1492.
Mm-hmm. I wasn't even invited. Oh, I was
They don't
born
think-
yet. Never mind. I'm sorry. Go ahead, boss.
No, I'm just saying. Think about it. We've been in 1492 for like 3-4 days. We haven't came across this man name yet.
Mm-mm. Not even. Not even. So, I just need some ounces. So let's continue to read. In 1501, the Castilian authorities delivered an ultimatum to the Muslims of Granada. They could either convert to Christianity or be expelled. The Inquisition was aimed mostly at Jews and Muslims who had overtly converted to Christianity but were thought to be practicing their faiths secretly. They were respectively called Morenos and Moriscos. Stop. It reads
There they
again.
go. Labeling all these people Moors.
The Inquisition was aimed mostly at Jews and Muslims, exactly, who had overtly converted to Christianity, saying, "Yeah, we Christians, we gonna stand for Christianity." You know, their minds are like, "I ain't doing that," but were thought to be practicing their faith secretly. They were respectively called Morenos or Moriscos. So why were they called Moriscos or Morenos? I'll wait. Not because they were a tribe, not because they were a clan, not because they came from a certain land. They were called this because they were thought to be practicing Islam while claiming Christianity, which would have made them what?
Morenos are Spanish and Portuguese Jews.
Say it again. Say that one more again, Bounce.
Morenos are Spanish and Portuguese Jews.
Okay. We'll make sure they heard it. So then it goes on to read, however, in 1567, King Philip II directed Moriscos to give up their Arabic names and traditional dress and prohibited the use of Arabic. In reaction, there was a Morisco uprising in the Alpujarras from 1568 to 1571. Quick question.
This is when they're Moriscos, that's labeling all Muslims as Moors at this time.
Who's naming them?
It's all right. It's all right.
Mm-hmm.
Who's labeling them Moriscos? Are they labeling themselves Moriscos? Are they labeling themselves Moriscos? Or are they being labeled as Moriscos? Just help me understand this, because I want to make sure I get this right, because I don't want to be accused of creating a false narrative. Are these individuals naming themselves Moriscos, or are they being labeled Moriscos by another entity?
I don't know the answer to that, but I have a question.
Go ahead, what's your question?
I have a statement. Well, I'm going to read. Joe 47, appreciate it. He said, I want to know if they even know what they call themselves before they took on the Moor pet name, because I asked one yesterday and he couldn't give me an answer. I was trying to think of something to call the name that they're taking on. It's pet name. It's really a pet name.
Yeah, because somebody else is naming you.
And they're taking on, come on, man.
The individuals, the Moors, are nothing more than the Berbers from Maghreb.
That's it. Then in time they started labeling. They started labeling all Arabs they came across as Moors. Then they started labeling all Muslims they came across as Moors. Now you see here they labeling all Muslims and Jews they come across as Moors. So what is a Moor now? just a derogatory term.
Look at it this way, and let's look at this in this proper perspective. That's no different than everybody being named Cherokee. That's a southeastern Indian. Cherokee becomes a confederation of different tribes, and now everybody's a Cherokee. Then you get put on a roll as a Cherokee, but that's not who you are. That's not who your people are. That's not what you were called. That's not what your people call themselves. But that's what these people were labeled as. It's the same thing. They're just giving it.
Somebody else chose a title. Somebody else chose a title. It's nothing. Think about it. It's just like being an African American. Ain't nobody choose that title. Somebody gave it to you. So you see how it's happening. It happened in our lifetime. Not one person listening filled out no application and be like, this what I want to be called. You went to sleep when they was calling you black, and next thing you know, you're African American.
Mm-hmm. And then in 2000s, on the 2000 census, they gave you the opportunity to choose African American from other titles that you were given. So at the end of the day, these were titles that were given to people, and people say pet names. I don't want to be derogatory with it. I don't want to put a flame to the fire, because I went around for a long time. I can't say a long time. For the first couple of months to find out who my people were, repping Sioux. Not understanding what that means or who that was. So, I get it. But the one thing about me is I'm about getting it right. I'm not about being right. Sioux was not the term. I'm not Sioux. That's French.
Mm-hmm.
Catawba Sapani, a.k.a. Issa, a.k.a. Itza. So that's what my people call themselves. So I'm not walking around here calling myself something that, fake Grandpa Joe called me.
Ain't gonna be able to do.
But to each their own. Let's continue to read, shall we? In the years from 1609 to 1614, the government expelled Moriscos. Who called these people Moriscos? It wasn't themselves. The historian Henry Lapierre estimated that this affected 300,000 out of the estimated total of 8 million inhabitants. So they uprooted 300,000 of the 8 million inhabitants. Now, here's the question. Were the people of the 8 million that were left, did they change over to Christianity? Did they change over to Catholicism? Because if they were, you have the people that didn't change over, who were called Moriscos, and the people that did change over, what did they call them? Were they called Moriscos because they switched over to Catholicism? That's a good question, right? So if I change over to Catholicism, am I called a Moor? Even though the people who's practicing the same faith that I was practicing, who didn't change over, you call them Moriscos. But because I change over to Catholicism, am I considered a Moor? Survey says, no, I'm not. So who is titling these people Moors?
Ooh-wee.
I'm going to ask the questions. Like I said, I'm like that 4-year-old. Why? Moving on. Some Muslims converted to Christianity and remained permanently in Iberia. You see that? Some Muslims converted to Christianity and remained permanently in Iberia. They didn't call them Moriscos. They said some Muslims converted to Christianity and remained permanently in Iberia, meaning they were not expelled, meaning they were not called Moriscos. Because if they expelled all Moriscos who were Muslims and Jews that didn't convert, that means if you were once a Muslim and you converted to Christianity, aka Catholicism, you were considered a convert, thus you were allowed to stay in Iberia, which means you were allowed to remain a citizen, so you were not called a Moor. So
remember the difference. The Moreno, that's the Jewish, and the Morisco, that's the all Muslim.
Let's just say me and my brother or living in the Iberian Peninsula. Both of us are practicing Islam. There's a change in leadership. Queen Isabella and King Ferdinand come in. There's a decree. After the rebellion, they say, okay, you can stay if you convert to Catholicism. If not, you're leaving. My brother decides that he wants to stay. He likes it there. I'm like, I'm not going nowhere and I ain't changing nothing. I get labeled a Moor or Morenos. I'm expelled. Does that mean me and my brother are not the same? Does that mean me and my brother are not related? Does that mean me and my brother don't have the same mother because now I'm labeled a Moor and he's not? Help me understand. I get called a Moor because I refuse to switch from Islam. He chooses to switch to Islam. He gets to stay on the Iberian Peninsula. I'm expelled. I'm labeled a Moor. So my brother's not a Moor. Who made that choice?
Think about it.
Dudovision said Moors are primarily North African and Arab. So when did sub-Saharan Africans become Moors? Remember, the Spaniards called the Indians in America Moors. See, somebody's giving out these titles like they're giving Tic Tacs to people with bad breath. If it suits the situation, that's what you get.
And remember, they're labeling these people Moors off of their interpretation on how they're living, how they're dressing, the construction of their buildings, what they believe in, off of their faith. Has nothing to do with your skin color. Again, it had nothing to do with skin color.
Del Boria says, no telling what they're gonna name us in the next few years exactly. Macadon 1 says, I thought it was Mohammedans at that time. Again, Macadon 1, who's telling the story? Depending on who's telling the story, they may have been Mohammedans. It may have been Mohammedanism. Who's ever telling the story? Who's ever writing that part of history?
It's just somebody else's interpretation of what's going on.
So then it goes back. I'm going to go back and finish reading this part. It says, some Muslims converted to Christianity and remained permanently in Iberia. This is indicated by the high mean proportion of ancestry from North Africa, 10.6%. That attests to a high level of religious conversion, whether voluntary or forced, driven by historical episodes of social and religious intolerance that ultimately led to the integration of descendants. According to historian Richard A. Fletcher, the number of Arabs who settled in Iberia was very small. Moor-ish Iberia does at least have the merit of reminding us that the bulk of the invaders and the settlers were Moors, i.e. Berbers from Algeria and Morocco. Stop. I'm gonna read that again. I'm gonna highlight this just so. According to historian Richard A. Fletcher, source, the number of Arabs who settled in Iberia was very small. Moorish, more like, Iberia does at least have the merit of reminding us that the bulk of invaders and settlers were Moors, i.e. Berbers from Algeria and Morocco. Who gave these Berbers the title Moors? Did they call themselves Moors or did someone else call them Moors? If you're calling yourself a Berber from Maghreb and someone calls you a Moor and that's not your title, are you going to wear that title that someone places on you with pride? Or are you going to look at them with the side eye? I'm just saying. Let's look at this stuff let's look at this stuff from how we look at stuff today. You're not going to let somebody call you out your name and be happy with that. At the very least, you will do what? You will at least correct them. Some people, they might throat chop. I don't know. But at the very least, you will correct them. You're not going to let them walk around calling you something that you are not. So the question is, who called these people Moors? In the meantime, Spanish and Portuguese, i.e. Iberian Peninsulans or Berbers, expeditions westwards from the New World spread Christianity to India, the Malay Peninsula, Indonesia, and the Philippines. Okay, so it says, in the meantime, Spanish and Portuguese expeditions westward from the New World spread Christianity to India, Malay Peninsula. I know I'm saying that wrong. Was it Mali? Malay? Somebody correct me. Indonesia, excuse me, and the Philippines. By 1521, the ships of Magellan had reached the island archipelago, which they named Las Islas Filipinas, from Philip II of Spain. In Mindanao. That word always trips me up. Mindanao. The Spanish named the Chris-bearing people the Moros or Moors. Today, this ethnic group of Mindanao, who are generally Filipino Muslims, are called Moors.
There they go labeling people again.
Who named these people what? It says here, the Spaniards named the Chris-bearing people as Moors, Moros or Moors. So you gonna take on a name that the colonizer gave your people? This is what we doing? This is how we roll now? We are proud people, so proud that we're gonna take on the name of a colonizer? That the colonizer name us? You shouldn't get mad if somebody call you the N-word then, if that's the case. To be taking on pet names and wearing them with pride. It's just my personal opinion. Golden Moon says, call me African American and see how that go. So something to think about, y'all. I mean, I'm just asking these questions because these are questions that need to be asked and they need to be addressed, and no one appears to be asking or addressing these questions. And it says today the ethnic group of Mindanao, who are generally Filipino Muslims, are called Moors. Now, see how they did this? They renamed these people twice.
Mm-hmm. Renamed them the Filipinos, then renamed them the Moors.
Because it says, which they named Las Islas Filipinas after Philip II. So Filipino ain't even a Filipino.
No.
They got a surname. They got a pet name. Come on, man. We gotta get this right. This is ridiculous. They just go around just renaming everybody. I don't know how many of you have worked with Europeans in any type of setting. They love to rename you. They love to give you nicknames. Do you mind if I call you such? Don't call me by my name. Don't call me nothing else other than my name. What's your name, Thomas? Can I call you Tommy? No. Don't be renaming me. So think about that the next time we're rocking these labels that somebody gave us to wear. And then we're arguing with other people who got labels that their fake stepdaddy gave them to wear. Clean your house up first. Moors in Sicily. You can also see history of Islam in southern Italy and Norman Arab Byzantine culture. The first Muslim conquest of Sicily began in 827, though it was not until 902 that almost the entire island was in control of the Aghlabids, with the exception of some minor strongholds in the rugged interior. During that period, some parts of southern Italy fell under Muslim control, most notably the port city of Bari, which formed the Emirate of Bari from 847 to 871, 909. In 909, the Aghlabids was replaced by the Ismailid rulers of Fatimid Caliphate. 4 years later, the Fatimid governor was ousted from Palermo when the island declared its independence under Emir Ahmad ibn Khorab. The language spoken in Sicily under the Muslim rule was Siculo-Arabic. Siculo-Arabic, that's what was spoken there. Let's see if they changed some names. Now remember, this was Sicily. I bet you Sicily wasn't called Sicily. In 1038, a Byzantine army under George Maniacus crossed the Strait of Messina. This army included a corps of Normans that saved the institution.
Listen. You don't want to press the link on the Normans. You want to press the link on the Normans. This is when you're going to start tying in a whole lot of history and a whole lot of things that's going to really start making sense, relatives. So please press that link on the Normans if you don't mind.
I'll do it. And I'll send the link.
Y'all done heard of the Normans before, but who are the Normans?
The Normans were an ethnic group that arose in Normandy, a northern region of France, from contact between Viking settlers and indigenous Franks, Gallo-Romans.
Who?
Hold on, I'm gonna stop.
And
Rewind. The Normans were an ethnic group that arose in Normandy, a northern region of France, from contact between Viking settlers and indigenous Franks, Gallo-Romans. David Corey says the Normans are Mormons.
But you see here who they are, right?
They're Vikings.
Vikings with indigenous
Franks.
Remember when we did the indigenous Franks? Remember the Sami. Remember the Sami, y'all.
Who are the Sami?
Sammy.
They were Isa and who?
Indigenous population of Europe.
Isa and Franks. So there are Vikings in Spain, aka Iberian Peninsula, aka
Yeah, we in Sicily now.
yeah, Sicily. Yeah, thank you. So what are Vikings doing in Sicily?
Oh, you don't know? The
No.
Vikings fought the Moors, fought the Ottoman Empire in the Iberian Peninsula.
What?
We're gonna get to that too.
What? You got Moors fighting Vikings? Man, stop playing.
You know it. Timelines.
Alright, so I'm going back. Oh. Okay, so this is where I was at. Corps of Normans. This army included a corps of Normans that saved the situation in the first clash against the Muslims from Messina. After another decisive victory in the summer of 1040, Menestheus halted this march to lay siege to Syracuse. Despite his success, Menestheus was removed from his position, and the subsequent Muslims' counteroffensive reconquered all the cities captured by the Byzantines. So all that gained they ground, they lost. Robert Guiscard, son of Tancred, invaded Sicily in 1060. The island was split between three Arab emirs, and the Christian population in many parts of the island rose up against the ruling Muslims. 1 year later, Messina fell, and in 1072, Palermo was taken by the Normans. The loss of the cities, each with a splendid harbor, dealt a severe blow to Muslim power on the island. Stop. Okay. I remember being a big fan of the History Channel before I realized that the history was severely slanted and guided. I don't remember seeing anything on the History Channel about Vikings and Moors fighting. I could be wrong, but I don't remember seeing any of that.
It gets deep.
So Vikings and Moors are fighting in Sicily. Sicily. This is in 1072. 1091 it was eventually taken. Shiva Prima, we were basically just talking about how there are Vikings in Sicily and how the Spaniards and Portuguese are just naming everybody Moors. They name the people, first they named the people of the Filipinos, and then when those people didn't convert to Catholicism, they named them Morenos. So they're just naming everybody Moors. They hand, like I said, they hand out the title of Moor like people that's got bad breath need a Tic Tac. So now we're talking about Moors and Vikings battling over Sicily. David quite crazy. He said Vikings and Moor, Muhammad Ali and George Foreman. I can't. So here's my question. Why are no one talking about these Vikings? Why does history try to remove the Vikings from all histories?
Because if you speak on them, it changes the history. Well, basically, it changes his story. Because the Vikings were everywhere. They went everywhere. Damn it, them Ottomans, they had ships on ships on ships.
Yeah, and if you talk about them, you gotta tell what happened to them, because looks like eventually they got mollywopped by these Moors, and then they got mollywopped on the Americas by our ancestors.
Yeah, y'all know about these Vikings that got whooped. They got whooped so bad, got turned into cheese makers.
So let's go back. So it says the loss of the cities, each with a splendid harbor, dealt a severe blow to Muslim power on the island. Eventually, all of Sicily was taken in 1091. Nato, in southern tip of Sicily, and the island of Malta, the last Arab strongholds, fell to the Christians. Islamic authors noted the tolerance of the Norman king of Sicily. Ali ibn al-Athir wrote, "They, the Muslims, were treated kindly and they were protected, even against the Franks. Because of that, they had great love for King Roger." Shiva Pramo says, "I thought of them as the original pirates, explorers." I mean, they had a hand in that. Wouldn't call them original, but yeah. The Muslims' problem characterized Hohenstaufen rule in Sicily under Holy Roman Emperors Henry VI and his son Frederick II. Many repressive measures were introduced by Frederick II to please the popes, who were intolerant of Islam in the heart of Christendom. This resulted in a rebellion by Sicilian Muslims, which in turn triggered organized resistance and systematic reprisals, and marked the final chapter of Islam in Sicily. The complete eviction of Muslims and the annihilation of Islam in Sicily was completed by the late 1240s, when the final deportations to Lucera took place. So what do you think they call all those Muslims? Go ahead, Bones.
But you see them doing it now. You see them moving people to new places and creating new landmasses off of new names. You see them shuffling people around. At this time, it's basically assimilate or relocate.
That sounds all right. Pamela Hall says, "Grand Rising Tribe, I'm only here for a few minutes. I have to drive Miss Daisy around." Yes, that's correct, Elbori. They are still doing it now as we speak. They're not using wars, they're using harp. So, no sellout. Where you at? We're at architecture. Can you read that?
And then I will.
He says I can and I will. Well, all right then.
Oh, we under the Normans?
The Normans. Where you at? Hold on.
I'm under the last link I saw. Hold on. I lost my other link. Can you repost the link in the chat, please, sir?
Yes, I
Yeah,
do.
we back in the boy.
He said y'all are the Normans.
Hey, now that's just the last link, you know. Hit them with the link. Get back on twack.
Back on twack.
No, let's not do that. It sounds like a drug.
Yeah, that's not a good look. Not a good look.
All right.
But do we understand that the term Moor was a label that the Spaniards and the Portuguese gave to these Muslims and these people that look like Muslims or people that they thought was Muslims? How is that a title to revere? Because the Berbers of Maghreb showed up, didn't call themselves Moors. So if you're gonna call yourself anything, wouldn't you want to call yourself what your people call themselves? Wouldn't you want to call yourself a Berber? Wouldn't you want to claim and rep Maghreb? Wouldn't you want to do that? I'm just asking. That's just my personal opinion. Yeah, we here. You good?
Moorish architecture is the articulated Islamic architecture of northern Africa and parts of Spain and Portugal, where the Moors were dominant between 711 and 1492. The best surviving examples of this architectural tradition are the Mosque Cathedral of Cordoba and the Alhambra in Granada. That's Granada, mainly 1338 to 1390, as well as the Giralda in Seville, 1184. Other notable examples include the ruined palace city of Medina Azahara, 936 to 1010, and the Mosque of Cristo de la Luz, now a church in Toledo, the Al-Hafriya in Zaragoza, and baths such as those at Ronda and Alhama de Granada.
All right. And here's another thing we got to take into account. Many times if these, what I call recessive colonizers, if these recessive colonizers are coming over and they're conquering, so to speak, Grand Rising Mr. Zeno, and they see the spectacular building that was built, they're going to take over the building. They're not going, in many cases, they're not going to destroy it. They're just going to take it over and claim it as theirs, or claim that they built it. So what they're doing is they're talking about some of the architecture. The interesting thing about the architecture of these people, these Moors of Islam, is that their architecture is unlike anybody else's. So you can't come in and rep it as your own. So you have to give them credit for it. Some things you can claim, some things you can't, because you can't replicate or duplicate it.
And that's also another tie and link with our relatives, because when they came over, a lot of the constructions, that was the only thing that they was able to relate it to. Remember, a lot of that stuff at them world fairs was already here. You see how it's similar to the constructions over there that they were building. Again, the Spanish came here and called our ancestors Moors.
And they called them Moors because they were comparing these people, our ancestors, to people in Algeria and other parts of northern Africa, and also in Iberian Peninsula, the Berbers. They see them dressed a certain way, they see certain structures, so they like, okay, they the same people. They look like Moors because we gonna call them Moors. So my thing is, if that's the case, right, Joe 47, skin hue. And I'll get to your question, Goldemon. I haven't forgotten. I see it. So at the end of the day, we got to realize that these titles were handed out by these Spanish and Portuguese because they spoke Latin. They spoke a derivation of Latin, which is now Spanish, which really didn't come into existence until 1502.
And it's simple, because we do it now when we research. When you reading something, you have to use the definition of the word at the time it was being used. So the definition of this word at the time it was being used at first referred to the people of Maghreb, then to the Arabs, then to all Muslims, then to Jews, then to basically anybody that wasn't a Catholic.
So eventually the definition or the meaning of the word began to expand and change. So they were just calling anybody who was, if you think about it, eventually, and correct me if I'm wrong, Bose, eventually anybody that was a Protestant could have been considered a Moor.
Yeah, anybody that was outside of the Catholic Church, by the original definition, would be considered a Moor. See, we can't get caught up when we read in these terms using 20th century definitions. No, we got to go back to the time when it was written. We got to use the definition of the person that wrote it.
Yep.
Who can tell you best on what they meant? The person that wrote it or the person that's reading it? No, the person that wrote it. Use the definition that they use. That's how you get proper understanding of what's written in front of you.
You want to correct something on a 1828 definition of American Indian? What was it? What was the 1828 definition of, what was that term that we used to refer to a lot? Golly. The 1828 definition of American. It'll come to me. Because I know I misread it. But at the end of the day, we were being mistitled. Somebody gave us this title erroneously because that's what they wanted to call us. Again, it's like somebody walking up to you calling you boy. My name ain't boy, yeah, but I'm gonna call you boy. Regardless of what you call yourself, that's what they're labeling. And then as time progresses, then everybody we call them boys, and everybody was like, yeah, we the boys. That don't even make any sense. So apply that same logic to being called Moors. I'm sorry, Bones, you was gonna say something?
No, go back to that 1828 definition of American. See, and you said it correctly. A lot of people read it, but they misinterpret it.
Hold on, sit back.
The 1828 definition is telling you the hijack. Yeah, pull it up. It's telling you that they're renaming you, and it's right in front of your face.
Okay, so okay, American, pertaining to America, a native of America, originally applied to the Aboriginals or copper-colored races found here by the Europeans, but now applied to descendants of Europeans born in America. The name American
what does that mean?
always exalt the pride of patriotism.
What does that really mean?
What that
They're
means?
telling you that they gave you a new name.
So basically, what this basically boils down to is up until 1828, Americans were Aboriginals or copper-colored faces founded by the Europeans. But now,
Facts.
meaning 1828 now and moving henceforth, but now apply to descendants of Europeans born in America. So before 1828, it referred to the copper-colored races. After 1828, it applied to Europeans.
They're telling you they switching titles. They mark when they switch the title. You got to let go of the emotions. Step back. Start using the language at the time when this stuff was written to get proper understanding again.
So again, it's all about understanding what they meant at the time that they said it. It said it meant and it was applied. It says originally applied, meaning originally before today's date. Up until before now, prior to the Europeans getting here, it meant Aboriginals or copper-colored races found here by Europeans. So up until 1828, that's what American meant. This is what it means now. Descendants of Europeans born in America. Those are the only people that are Americans.
They're telling you. But you have to read it not from you can't read it from your point of view. You have to read it from their side of the room to really understand what they're saying. They didn't write the definition for you. They wrote the definition so they people would understand what they were saying. You just happen to be able to read it.
I'm about to drop it in the chat. I had to move it so I can drop it. Give me a second. But does that make sense to y'all? Do y'all understand why that's like that? And how it was misinterpreted?
Oh yeah, Creek, what's that? The 1828 definition of America? Of American?
Yeah, I just dropped a link in the chat.
So if you read it for the emotional side, you miss the whole point of the definition.
So when they say American now, since 1828, American means descendants of Europeans born in America. So if we weren't Americans then, if our ancestors weren't Americans then, what were they? Remember, 1828. What were the enumerators told to call us? Negro? When did they stop using mulatto bones?
I don't want to misquote the year. Hold on, let me pull it up.
Okay. Because you figure this happened in 1828. So they was prepping for what? What census were they prepping for? They was prepping for the 1830 census. Again, timelines are very important. So when this change in meaning happened, they was preparing you for the change in definition of what an American was. Also, too, what was also happening in 1828? Remember, 1820 to 1870. What was
added
happening?
1850. 1850 is when they added it.
Okay. What was happening between 1820 and was it 1890?
Whole lot of moving.
What, 15 million Germans and Irish people were sent to the United States? Now
Between
you
1820 and 1870.
Now you understand why they had to change the definition of American? Because you had a whole bunch of copper-colored people who were now born here, coming here, and you wouldn't be able to distinguish between them and the Indians already here. So you had to make everybody non-American that wasn't European born here. Now tell me I'm wrong.
Remember, when definitions change, what are they preparing for? To write it into law. Notice these definitions always drop right before the census. New definition comes out right before the census.
Remember the etymology of the word Slav? And in 1788, they changed the spelling of the word Slav to slave. Y'all remember that? 1788
right
is 2 years before the 1800 census. Come on, y'all. We gotta do better. And I'm saying we as in we, because I was quoting that 1828 definition of American like I knew what I was talking about, sounding retarded. Getting emotional. Well, the slave word got stuck on us, Elboria, because of the movie Roots in 1979. Because they were changing the narrative. Again, that movie was dropped a year before the census.
Right before the census. Then they come back 89, they make you African American after 10 years of bash you upside the head with roots and all this other African stuff. They primed you for 20 years. 20 years of programming. So when it came to the year 2000, you would willingly click African American on that census box.
Yeah, because we was coming off a high of a record decade of more swarthy, dove, melanated shows than any other time in history prior to the exploitation film industry, exploitation boom. We basically had, there was a joke. We basically had our own network, right? UPN.
Yeah. It was all over the place for them 20 years.
What happened to that network? It disappeared, huh?
Yeah, you seen after they done convinced everybody to be an African American, now they give you reality TV shows showing the worst and the fictional worst of our communities. We've been played again. We've been had in our lifetime. They used us for 20 years to help us willingly become an invisible class so they can remove resources to give it to a new class they bringing in. They don't have to get all of us out. Just like back then, they didn't have to get all of us out. All they need is a couple of million to move. That's it. Let's keep this real. This ain't nothing but a cycle that's been repeating over and over and over. And if we don't get it right, it's going to happen again.
Yep, gonna be another 15 to 30 million people moved in 10 years so they can bring immigrants in to take our place, because many of us are no longer doing manual labor. We're no longer, shucking and jiving, soft shoeing and being stepping and fetching. And that's no derogatory against those individuals, but I'm just trying to paint a picture for clarity. That's why finding out who you are is important. That's why getting to the original names of these places and these people is important. It reduces and minimizes confusion. If someone says Spaniard and you go, oh, you mean those people from the Iberian Peninsula? That shuts all that mess down. There were no such people as Spanish people.
You know?
There are Iberians that speak Latin. Period. So, we gotta get this right.
New class of these magical Spaniards and just put them on the lane mass of Spain all of a sudden. Really?
Hispaniola, the Latin word for Iberian Peninsula. That's all Hispaniola is. And that's according to Roman records. Holy Roman Empire.
13 families, 13 seats.
No landmass. This is important. We need to understand and get this right. So all I'm saying is, if you're gonna give me a title, hopefully that's the title that you can go the furthest back, because again, some of us don't know what our ancestors' original title is, and I understand and I get that. So that's fine, that's cool. And continue to do your genealogy and find out who you are. But for those of you who do use those terms, please, that's how you show respect to your ancestors. Stop using these terms that the colonizer gave your people unless that's your lineage. And if that is, cool. If you have a heavy Franc influence in your family, then using French words are fine. Using French terminology to describe your people is fine, because that's who you are. I get it. But if that's not who you are, why would you do that?
And to show you how it works, and right now, right now, over the, 2 days ago, they had the summit meeting. A lot of people watched it. And I'm going to repeat something that the sister Candace Owen said, that a lot of people probably didn't catch, or probably couldn't hear because of the noise. That when this census come out, this census is designed to allocate resources to your neighborhood. So when you don't participate, there's less resources that's there for your neighborhood. Now, you have an immigration class that's coming in. This immigration class is coming in. Who neighborhoods are they moving in?
Ours.
Who are they competing with for these same jobs in these neighborhoods?
Us.
Now, if these people don't identify where they come from, they're voting. They're voting in your communities, voting in people that's going to be against your best wishes. We got to start playing ball, y'all. You have to ask yourself, who told you not to participate in the census and why? Again, who told you not to participate in it and why? It's about resources.
And again, this information has been disseminated and read and viewed and exposed for many years. So this is not new information, which makes it that much more depressing, if you will, because people have known, people have shared, and people have ignored this information. So this is not a news/bomb dropping moment for many people that have been on YouTube for years. The problem is that it appears that no one has been talking about it. So the question is, why not? Why are we not hearing about the Vikings? Why are we not hearing about the Berbers? Why are we not hearing about the Moors' name being given to them by Portuguese and Spanish-speaking colonizers? Why are we not hearing these things? Because people know this stuff. Here's the thing that I find interesting. There are many people who have been on these channels that have been reading, that have been investigating and been doing the research. They put it this way, they forgot more about this history than I know. But for whatever reason, have not said anything. Remember what I always say about being first. You can be first, but if there ain't no action behind you being first, you wear the crown of being first to fail, first to point out, first to not do nothing, first to be lazy, first to be neutral. Be careful being first. It comes with a large responsibility, because when someone asks you, what did you do? What do you got to show? What do you got to prove for being first? And you start stuttering and stammering and blocking people. You know, you got some explaining to do, quite honestly. So, again, this information has been out here. It's been sitting here. And for whatever reason, people have been ignoring it and not talking about it. So this is not new information. This is not something that all of a sudden just popped up. It's been here. But people are so bent on having that narrative and being right, not wanting to get it right, that they will overlook it because it doesn't fit their narrative. Like I said, I was repping Sue hard when I first got into these chats. Sue all day. But that's a French term. That's not who my people were. That's not what they call themselves. So I had to make a correction. There's nothing wrong with being wrong. There's nothing wrong with admitting you're wrong. There is something, however, with being wrong and acting like you're not and getting upset because somebody's pointing you out for being wrong. We make mistakes all day. Everybody is human. So if you got a problem with being wrong and then admitting you're wrong, you got a problem. Being wrong is not the problem. Refuse to correct your wrong, that's the problem. So I'll be the first to tell you, I was repping a French title given by my fake daddy. You Sue. No, I'm not. That's what the French call them. But I'm saying though, I mean that's just being real. You gotta. It's so. Here's the thing that we gotta get over. We got to get over the fact that we make mistakes and people that look up to you or the people that follow you or people that value your opinion. There are very prominent people that have made mistakes in the public eye. They admitted that they was wrong, they atoned for it, and then they moved on. And you know what? It ends up being a part of history. It doesn't end up being the main part of their history. What really gets people hemmed up is when you do something wrong, you continue to do something wrong even after you've been called out on it, and then act like you ain't doing anything wrong. Because eventually it's going to catch up with you. You will get hemmed up. This is YouTube. Freedom of Information Act. You can't have it for so long. Your atrocities, you will only get away with your atrocities but for so long. Somebody gonna rat you out. Remember, there are no honor amongst thieves or scammers. You will eventually be told on. You know why? Because the person that you scheming and scamming with and against, eventually one of y'all gonna scheme and scam on each other, and then y'all gonna come running and tell it. Remember that.
Door closed.
So, there ain't nothing wrong with being wrong. Admit you're wrong, atone, move on. So yes, I was repping Sue. Go ahead, Bones.
No, Lady J is correct. See, they studied us for over 200 years. And what they learned is, they learned our weakness, our emotions. Until we get our emotions in check, until we learn how not to fall for these emotional triggers that they keep putting on us every time. We cannot allow them to dictate our reaction. They got us so reactionary, they put something on TV, they already know what we're going to do. Because that's what they want us to do. We have to stop falling for the emotional traps. Because they use our emotions and we use it to keep each other down. There's a time and place for everything. But now, getting our people together, doing this for the next 7 generations, this is not the time or place for emotions. We have to check them at the door. We have to make sure we do what's right. We can't sit here and say we want our children to have a better future, but we're not willing to do what's right. Sometimes doing what's right, I have you in the group of few. But in the end, you stood for what's right. My relatives is not going to be easy. But it feels so good.
Golden Moon. You said that your 5th great-grandfather was Creek and was part of the Creek campaign. You don't know what the name of those tribes were. Depending on where you live, I know that Bones has put out some information that gives the information of all 1,095 locally registered tribes. They're state recognized. So I would start there and reach out to those tribes, and they'll tell you. They'll gladly tell you what they call themselves. You know, no one's talking about all these tribes. Everybody wants to point. I ain't gonna say everybody because that's a broad, false statement. Many people want to point to the 5 civilized tribes and paint them as the gatekeepers. No. They're not the only gatekeepers. They're gatekeepers in our own midst. They're gatekeepers in YouTube. Some of our genealogists are gatekeepers. Know that to be true. You rep a tribe. You send in your information. Because you're heavily melanated, you don't get your card. There's a whole bunch of reasons why you don't get it, but you don't get it. But they're steadily giving out information. They're steadily reaching out to the melanated Indians, but you won't get your card. There are lots of tribes. The goal is we got to reach out to them. We got to go talk to them. Have conversations with them. And that's what people don't want. They don't want you talking to these tribes. Because what you'll find is that there are a lot of these tribes that are heavily melanated that do have the history written down. They can tell you what tribes are the keepers, and you'll be very surprised to find out there's some of the Indians that are repping this community. That's what they can't afford. That's what they don't want. That's why we keep telling you, once you find out who you are and find out who everybody else is, you'll know who to stay away from. So I would start with the state registered tribes. There are like over 1,000 of them. And there's a large number of them in the southeast. There's a large number of them in Texas. So I will start there first. And if you need that information, just reach out to us at autochthonousassembly@gmail.com, or you can go to the forum at autochthonousassembly.com/forum, and we'll make sure you get that information. So hopefully that answers your question. Don't sell out. Can you read the next chapter in heraldry? That catch you off guard.
No, I got it. In heraldry, Moors, or more frequently their heads often crowned, appear with some frequency in medieval European heraldry, though less so since the Middle Ages. The term ascribed to them in Anglo-Norman blazon, the language of English heraldry, is Moor, though they are also sometimes called Moor, Blackmoor, Blackamoor, or Negro.
Stop.
No. Okay. Every time you see. Okay, cool. Start.
I did not call somebody French booty scratchers. Don't do that, indigenous. Very. That's so wrong. See how people create narratives and start rumbles. The language of English heraldry. Anglo-Norman blazon. Anglo, meaning your Finn Vikings. They were calling these people Moor, Blackamoor, or Negro. Do y'all see that? Is there anybody that don't see it? Anglo-Normans. The term ascribed to them in Anglo-Norman blazon. Okay? So these Moors are being renamed again. Moor with an E. Blackmoor, Blackamoor, or Negro. Why would you put the E on the end of the word if you already got the word as M-O-O-R? What does that E denote in that language? I don't know. We're going to figure that out because that's the same thing they did with Slav. They slapped the E on it.
And it's silent. So yeah, I really would like to figure that out.
I mean,
what's the representation of the E in a language?
Yeah, because I'm starting to see a pattern here. And why the E? What does the E do? What does the E signify? Because the word more wasn't good enough. You had to put an E on it, and then you had to put Blackmore, then Blackamoor, and then or Negro. Yeah, El Bori, they are creating a new word and meaning, but what I need to know is why and what does that E denote in that language? Because we saw it with slave, which was Slav. If you do that to my Egypt, let me do it because I don't want to tell somebody to do something because I hate when people do that to me. Give me a second. Give me a second. Hold on. This is bad. Apparently, Microsoft does not like the word etymology. Because when I typed in etymology in a search engine and pulled it up, something tried to access my computer. So, give me a second. The music cut off. I gotta bring Microsoft back up. I know that silence is eerie, isn't it? Give me a moment. Somebody can say something and talk. Hello. Really? This is what we do? This is You ain't right. You are not right. Not at all.
Yeah, I'm left-handed, so it's cool.
Are you? You left-handed for real?
Yep.
That explains a lot. How many people that are left-handed in the chat? All my left-handed people, put a 1 in the chat.
You about to explain a lot about a lot of people. What you doing?
I want to see. I want to see
wanna
if it
know
confirms some of
where
my
the lucky left is at.
suspicion. How many left-handed people we got in the chat? Put them ones up. Celestial Love, Golden Moon. That's all the lefties we got. They say 25% of the population are left-handed. If that's the case, that means at least 25% of the chat should be left-handed, right? I'm just saying. Well, Boria like me.
Creek, please don't. He said I can't abbreviate your name for short and call you Zella. No abbreviations on my name ever in life, people. I'd appreciate it. And Creek answered 2 for the right hand. We talking to the lefties. The lucky lefties right now. Now, come on.
Creek a renegade.
David Corey.
Creek Why did just every because I'm lying? What really?
What? Wait. Oh man, we didn't see. Make a left. Make a left. Oh, he said I can use both, but I'm a lefty. Okay, ambidextrous.
Yeah, I'm self-taught ambidextrous too.
Nah, I'm not.
I can use both.
Don't ask me to punt a ball with my right leg. I can punt with my left. I cannot punt with my right. I need some practice.
He said, I missed it. I disregard. I don't know the question. Just kidding. Grand Rising Carrie Bay.
He told who's selling out. What up, Carrie?
See, y'all ain't right. So I was looking up etymology. Etymology dictionary. Because I want to, because we were talking about, give me a second. Alright. So to get back on track, we were talking about how putting the E at the end of a word with some of these Romance languages somehow changes the meaning of the word. Because we noticed they did it with Slav, and now they're doing it with Moor. So that's how we got off on that tangent before my computer started to act like it had personal issues with etymology. So let me go ahead and share my screen. Y'all should be able to see my screen now. There we go. All right. Let's see, where is it? So look, we have the word here, Slav. Late 14th century slave, Slavic, from the medieval Latin Slavis, from Byzantine Greek Sklavos, from Old Church Slavic.
Probably down bad. The music kind of drowning you out.
Oh, sorry.
What?
Really? Stop it.
Yeah.
Turn me up from my left ear. I can't hear. I'm turning me up on the right. Right down on the left. I'm about to go in.
See, we gonna let the born day boy have it.
The indigenous American Rican Leo, he put the symbolic meaning of E in the chat.
Okay. So now down here it says identical with the Slavic personal names such as Russian Miroslav, literally peaceful flame. And then we go down here and it says spelled slave, 1788 through 1866. Influenced by French and German slave as an adjective from 1876. Okay.
Adjective in 1876, 1865, 1870. Wow.
So what was it? So where's that link at that you tell me about?
Oh, he typed it up in the chat. You gotta scroll up a little bit.
Okay. Let me do that. Let me do this first. Go back to the Moors. Make sure I get that. Heraldry. Chat. Let's see if I can find it. I cannot. Okay. Symbolic meaning of the letter E. The letter E can be a great significance to ego, earth, ecosystem, everlasting, and evolution, emergence, elimination, empowerment, epiphany. What that mean? So let me see. So we saw that there was an E added to Slav, and then now we're seeing that there's an E added to Moor. So why would somebody do that? And I read what the significance is, but I don't know what that means. So if somebody can break that down to me, help me understand, give me a better understanding.
Well, when they add an E, it's becoming derogatory. The E can symbolizes elimination.
See?
It's just a thought.
See, thank you.
Because every time we noticed the E was added, it was in a derogatory way.
Say that again, Bones, because I don't think everybody got that. I got it now. Some people may know it, but say it again so people can really get it. When you add an E it makes it derogatory and it could mean elimination. Is that what I'm understanding?
Yeah, because when he put the different definitions of the different symbolisms of E, you see elimination is on there.
Right.
And like I said, this is just a thought. And every time we've seen the E added so far, it was in a derogatory way. Eliminate, remove, displace.
The emergence, the beginning of.
Mm-hmm.
It can also empower the person that's creating that term to devalue the person they're trying to eliminate.
It's creating winners and losers. Because in order to consider yourself a winner, you need a loser. They go hand in hand. In order to consider yourself an upperclassman, you got to create a lower class.
That's true.
In order to consider yourself rich, you got to create a poor class. That they go hand in hand. You can't have one without the other.
Because said, thanks y'all. It's weird because he had two last names. He went by, but he still have that weird last. Okay, so they're discussing genealogy. Cool. So again, asking these questions and just looking at this stuff is crucial and it's important because it tells a story. We can't just keep overlooking stuff and be like, oh, they just added E. No, what does that E mean? Why did they add it? What's starting to happen? Because again, it may be something significant or insignificant to us because they just added the E or they just added the E. Why would people using the same language, speaking the same language, add an E to something unless they were trying to affect a change? So now it's even more derogatory. No pun intended.
Remember, when the word definition changed, law normally precedes it. They create the definition, then create the law with the new definition. Why else change the definition if you're not going to change law?
Exactly. It's facts. And then Indigenous American Leo says the term slave didn't exist in 1690 or 1619, of course, because that word was not spelled like that until 1788. Everything before 1788 was Slav. And we know Slavs are Europeans.
TMH, they brought slaves over here in 1492.
They weren't slaves. They couldn't have been slaves. That word did not exist.
Bruh, come on, man.
It didn't become used as an adjective until 1876.
So there was no way they could have brought slaves over here. The word didn't exist. Do you see how understanding terminology, understanding the words, understanding using terms and words in that time period changes everything? Because we already know now they're going back rewriting history, talking about some African Americans. Couldn't have been African Americans. How you gonna bring African Americans to America? That doesn't make sense.
Oh man, that is terrible to say.
Yeah, that's something really to think about.
Terrible.
You bring African Americans to America.
Oh,
they brought African American slaves to America.
These are the worst journalists ever. Then that's what it is.
How can you do that? You can't do that. That's not possible. Things just don't add up. So when you start looking at timelines and you start looking at the terminology that was used and when words were changed and defined, now all of a sudden it makes things clear that they were trying to make murky. There could not have been any slaves in 1492. Why? The word slave did not exist in 1492. The word Slav did. And by looking at the etymology, it basically tells you that Slav is slave. But Slav meant something different then. So if it meant something different then, how are we using that terminology a 1788 terminology in 1492? How, Sway? How?
Think about it. The term at this time for what we say is slave back then was bondage. Don't let them fool you with these words. Bondage is the word that was used at the time. You were held in bondage.
We got to stop letting people use these terminologies and act as if it's okay and just let them explain it away. No. Right, Carrie, indentured servitude. You can't have slaves in 1492. You have Slavs. That existed. Those people exist. And they still exist. Absolutely says, according to the Spanish archives of the time, the first, I'm going to say Slavs, the first Slavs in Santo Domingo of the 15th century, actual Dominican Republic and Haiti, because the French were not there yet, were whites. Spanish archives, the 15th century. Thank you, absolutely appreciate that. So just know that we have to keep all this stuff in mind. Yes, I know it's a lot, but we can't be lazy. My personal opinion is being lazy is what got us in here in the first place. Somebody left the door open. People just started creeping in. Just start letting any and everybody up in here. Nobody verifying anybody, nobody checking for everybody okay and everybody being neutral. You see what neutral gets you? Neutral will get you a new trail, aka Trail of Tears, aka Sent Out West, aka Hemmed Up. Do you still want to be neutral? All right, find yourself out in Ghana somewhere because you was gonna be neutral. Keep it up. See what happens.
Be out there with Steve Harvey. He gotta be.
People think this is a game. This ain't no game. I'm cool with everybody. You need to stay away from me. Because what you telling me is you cool with the crooks, the criminals, the pimps, the hustlers, people that have hurt my people. You cool with them people? You are not cool with me. Anybody that says they're cool with everybody, keep them as far away from me as possible because it's safer for everybody. Now my chat is not acting right. Now I gotta go to the live chat, see what the chat's talking about. Oh, y'all know me, I ain't got no sense. Reading far too many books.
They want to blame it on me and no sellout. You see that?
Mm-hmm. Just admitted it.
We could be minding our business, reading and such.
It takes the Friday.
Oh, if anybody ever want to get the screenshots, just let me know. I keep all the screenshots are archived. For every show that we do, the screenshots, the slideshow, excuse me. Sorry. The slides are archived. We have those slides. They're if you want access to those slides, just let us know. That's what happens when you don't get enough sleep. So again, we have to pay attention to these timelines. We have to pay attention to these definitions that they use. We can't be using our own definitions to define something at that time period. Who are we to tell people what they meant doing then? That's why looking up words and find an etymology and a definition of something is crucial because it'll tell you when it came into existence. Then you know exactly how to correctly apply the word. Slave did not come into existence until 1788. So that means anytime it was used before 1788, think about this, it's plagiarism.
Say it ain't so.
you start transporting words and changing the history, you're plagiarizing. Whether you're the federal government, the state, or just somebody on Wikipedia, you're plagiarizing. That's what it is. You're changing the narrative. Now, plagiarizing is not the right word. I find the word for it. It's illegal. How about that?
Yeah, fibbing.
Y'all be nice. Again, at the same time, this information I'm putting out, the questions I'm asking, these are questions we need to ask ourselves. What titles are we holding on to that don't belong to us? What titles are we holding on to that our fake granddaddies and fake grandpappies gave to our ancestors? Are we holding on to those titles? If we are, we need to acknowledge it and then correct it and admit it. Stop being scared to admit you're wrong. Stop being scared to admit you're wrong and that you don't know something. That's one of our biggest problems. We have all these people that call themselves scholars, but not one. I very rarely hear anybody that's a self-proclaimed scholar say they're wrong. Ever. Or they don't know. Everybody is the greatest of all time. Everybody is the smartest of all time. Everybody knows all this information, but I ain't seen nothing that you've done. What have your students produced? You the greatest of all time. What your students produce? You the smartest. You the best scholar there ever was. You got all this information. What have you produced? Never make a mistake. Never been wrong. Be getting mollywopped and daggone the base, but you ain't never lost. How, Sway? How? I'm trying to figure it out.
Yeah, we have shipping records to indigenous American Rican Leo. Yeah, we have the shipping records of a lot of these people and when they came and their names on the website in the forum. So if anybody want to check them out, they're on the Continental Assembly forum, and they're constantly being updated.
I said the slides are archived in Indigenous American Leo. Look, I keep trying to explain to y'all, that my accent is a weird mixture of Hampton Roads, aka 757, Macon, Georgia, and Northern Virginia. That's why I sound crazy. I'm sorry, I can't help it. And here's one thing I want to put out to the panel and to the Conscious Assembly silent majority and even to the YouTube subscribers. If y'all ever catch me in a debate and I'm getting whooped, mollywopped, embarrassed, don't let me think I won if I didn't win. If I'm having a discourse or a dialogue with someone and I'm just getting toe up from the flow up, let me know, please. Don't make me think I did something or I broke down some information and make it sound better than it was. Tell me the truth. Let me know. Okay, Aaliyah.
David Corey, it's under the shipping records in the Continental Assembly forum.
I just want to put that out there because some people are getting whooped in debates and everybody claiming victory. If your man's in there was truthful with you, you're getting whooped and you're getting embarrassed. That's why we don't debate. It's what is it doing? What is it helping? Who benefits from the debate? The information for the people will be the information for the people. Let the information do the work. Stop trying to go and quote unquote get somebody's people or go get your people. They ain't your people. You know where your people are? In your neighborhood. Go get those people. Okay, I'm back. Sorry.
What you mean, those people? No, I'm joking.
What you mean, those people?
I'm just saying, again, if I say something that's wrong, please correct me on the spot. Please, do not let me think that I accomplished something that everybody that's looking know I didn't accomplish. Please.
High five, TMH. You did good. It's terrible. I ain't gonna leave you like that.
Please don't. Please, hey, if I ever say something wrong, if I ever say something that's incorrect, please correct me. Don't let me think I'm the greatest thing since sliced bread. Don't do that. So, talking about these Moors. Now they're Moors with an E at the end. The E denotes derogatory. It's even more derogatory than it was. So you gonna put an E on something derogatory to make it more derogatory. Ain't that crazy?
That's just how they do it.
It said
that
Moors,
extra derogatory.
It said the Mores appear in European heraldry from at least as early as the 13th century, and some have been attested as early as the 11th century in Italy, where they have persisted in the local heraldry. Oh my gosh. And vexillology well into the modern times in Corsica and Sardinia. What are mores?
Another word for Moors.
A more since the 11th century is a symbol depicting the head of a Moor. The term has Phoenician and Greek origins. Is a symbol depicting the head of a Moor. What does that mean? The term was Phoenician, and the term has Phoenician and Greek origins. So is it like an emblem? And the reason why I'm asking this question because it's a symbol depicting the head of a Moor, and that's from the 11th century. Well, yeah, that would make sense because you have people being called Moors around that time. So, I'm getting stuck with timelines and making sure the timelines match with the definitions and understanding. So, a more is a symbol depicting the head of a Moor. So it goes on. It's what you would put on your flags, on your emblems, and things of that nature. So that's what that is. Okay, it took me a while. I got it now. I'm back. Then it says, Amazighs bearing Moors or Moors heads have adopted them for any of several reasons, to include symbolizing military victories in the Crusades as a pun on the bearer's name in the canting arms of Maurus, Negri, Sarsensi, etc., or in the case of Frederick II, possibly to demonstrate the reach of his empire. The arms of Pope Benedict the 16th features a Moor's head crowned and colored red. It refers to arms of Frisching, Germany. In the case of Corsica and Sardinia, the blindfolded Moor's heads in 4 quarters have long been said to represent the 4 Moorish emirs who were defeated by Peter I of Aragon and Pamplona. In the 11th century, the 4 Moors' heads around the cross having been adopted to the arms of Aragon around 1281 through 1387, and Corsica and Sardinia having come under the dominion of the King of Aragon in 1297. In Corsica, the blindfolds were lifted to the brow in the 18th century as a way of expressing the island's newfound independence. The use of Moors, and particularly their heads, as a heraldic symbol has been depreciated in the modern Northern America. For example, the College of Arms of the Society for Creative Anachronism urges applicants to use them delicately to avoid causing offense.
cause an offense or a reminder.
Mm-hmm.
People start asking questions, who are these dark-skinned people on all these flags with these red bandanas on and blindfolds?
Absolutely. Says during the 1400s, whites were still called Africans, not the black people. So slave meant white slave until the continent became Africa as a name. The confusion is on purpose. I can see that absolutely. So, does this make sense to anybody? Does this make sense to everybody? Are you starting to understand why it's important for us to do these timelines? Do you understand why it's important to start looking at the original meanings based off of when it was written at the time? What did that mean at the time that it was written? Because you understand it changes when the law changes. So what applied then doesn't apply now. Just like the definition of American. 1728 definition of American? Is that it? 1728? Yeah. It means now.
This was 1826.
It means the Europeans that were born in America. It don't mean anybody else. So, gotta take it for what it's worth. That's what he said. Didn't you say the Moors like white women to the mother of their children during their reign? The kids would be mixed. I said that the Isa who were called Moors, they liked white women, and they actually brought some back to the Americas. The women were the children were normally raised by the tribe, and the heads of the tribe were normally the wisdom, the women that did the raising, because the men were out doing other stuff. If you look at the way it was broken down, when you had two Indians from different tribes, the child would normally go with the woman's tribe, and the male Indian would go back with his tribe. If they decided to create a union, they would create another tribe. It would just be a subsect, a clan of that tribe. That's what he said. The Moors enslaved 1.2 million whites.
But also remember, all Moors are not dark-skinned. More will be revealed. Just look up the Kabbali. Like I said, it's going to get very interesting.
Very. Again, here's a question. This is not directed at anybody. I'm not taking shots, but here's a question you ask. Who told you that all the Moors were black? It's like, who told you that we called ourselves Moors? Now what we're finding out is that Moors was a term that was given to those people by not only the Normans, which were Vikings, but those were terms that was also given by Portuguese and the Spanish, which were nothing more than people from the Iberian Peninsula.
Look at it even this way. You see how when they talk about the Moors in present time, they don't even talk about the Iberian Peninsula. They try to push you off in Africa. Identifying as a Moor right now is the same equivalent as calling yourself an African American, putting yourself right back on that landmass. Stop playing.
This is exactly what it's doing. And then they make it sound like that Africa is so far away from Spain when it's not. There is a land bridge that connects Africa to southern Spain. I have a business partner that's crossed that land bridge. They live in Philadelphia. I need to interview them. Let's see if I can interview them. So you can walk to Africa from Spain. So it's not that far when they talk about Moors, the perception is everything African with the Moors, and that's not true. Only
You got to remember, the first time the word Moor was ever used, it was towards the people of Maghreb. It was talking about a particular set of people that came from a particular area in what we now call North Africa. Then they started applying it to anybody that was an Arab or Arab. Then they started applying it to anybody that was a Muslim. Then they opened it up and applied it to anybody that was a Jew. See, all you have to do, you have to go back to the time, to where it was used and who it was used on. Then you go from there and you can see in history how they just applied it to more people. That over time it began to mean something else. But go back to the original meaning, the original definition from the land of where this word is being used.
That's why we go back to the beginning, the origin. That's where you unravel everything. You have to
Remember,
take it back to its
the
origin.
the Jews in Iberia were called Moreno, and the Muslims were called, what was it, Maracas? Yeah, Maracas. But they were both of it means more. Both of it means more. Derogatory term.
Grand Rising LJ Free. Glad you can catch the cab. So
Correct, absolutely. A lot of people don't know the history that you do have blonde hair, blue eye, blonde beard, people of North Africa who have always been there. That's why North Africa to this day identifies as white for the original people that come from that area.
One more time, please.
The Kabali are originally from the North African area. They are blonde hair, blue eyed with blonde beards. Some of them have reddish hair and light eyes. You're North Africans.
Vicky said the Christians were Moriscos. Now y'all starting to get it, but all those tie back to them being called Moors. It fit the description, it fit a derogatory description that they was trying to create. And then when they slap an E on it, they make it even more derogatory. Now it's denoting color. Absolutely, so that's why I say all slaves were white during the 1400s called Africans.
Mm-hmm.
Because again,
so that's why you have to be careful. That's why we got to be careful when we be like there was no transatlantic slave trade. Yes, there was, and it happened between the years of the 820 and 870. 15 million Irish and Germans. What do you call that? They didn't say transatlantic African slave trade. No, it's the transatlantic slave trade.
And they had left the spelling originally, it would have been Slav trade. And also, too, we have to remember that when there was a change in power and the Ottomans took over, there was only 2 of the 54 states in Africa that were named Africa. So if there were only 2 of the 54 states named Africa, what were the other 52 states of the continent considered? Here's a hint. Ethiopia, Kofri, Libya. And there's another one I keep forgetting. So there were only 2 of the 54 states called Africa. So how, at that time, can you say the whole continent was called Africa? Because it wasn't. And this is their history, not ours. So somebody's lying. That's why it's important and imperative to look at it from both sides. You have to look at it from both continents. You just can't look at it from the Americans' interpretation of the continent. That's not what you do. That's not how you research things. That's not how you look up stuff. So, just a thought. So, y'all ready to let these good people get up out of here so they can go become and continue to be a major benefit to the community? Really? That's what we doing?
I don't want to let them go.
Really?
Hanging out.
So now you want to be a slave driver? I'm just saying.
Oh, nope.
Gonna make them indentured service? That's what we doing?
Nope.
Out in places Yugoslavia. Exactly. So let's get it. No sell out. What you got to say to the people before we get up out of here?
All right. Peace to the chat. Peace to the panel. Appreciate everybody for coming out today, like they always do. You see, I've been posting something new in the chat. If you guys need any help starting a business, a new business, or help with a current business, you can definitely hit us up at our email address. We spoke on it a little bit yesterday, but yeah, appreciate everybody for showing up today. Happy birthday, Bones, and TMH. I yield the mic.
Magadon once says a Kibalon. Yes, that content was once called a Kibalon, but before it was called a Kibalon, it was also known as Ethiopia or Kofri or Libya. So, I mean, you're right, Magadon won on that, but it was still called something before it was called a Kibalon.
Over 5 names.
Mm-hmm. At the end of the day, it's all about helping you find out who you are. Not just finding out who you are, but knowing who everybody else is. Because once we know who we are and who everybody else is, we'll know who we're supposed to link up with and who we're supposed to stay away from. Not by our own admission, but by their admission. Keep that in mind. If you don't know where you are or who you are, how are you going to know where to start? The goal is to help you become financially independent and to have a financial stability for you and your 7 generations, whether it's just for you and your relatives, you and your community, or you and your tribe, your house, your clan, whoever you are. We're not here to tell you who you are, we're not here to tell you who you're not, and we're not here to debate. We're looking for things that people can do and apply today. So with this information, what we learned today, we know now that we need to understand the terminologies of the time frame that we're looking for. So if you're looking for time frames in the 1700s, the 1500s, and 1600s, and certain words you don't understand what they mean, find out when those words came into place and what word was used before then, and now they may help you find your ancestors. And for many of those that are having problems with the genealogy, you might want to start going to some of the Catholic churches in your local area. They'll probably have access to your records as well. So, something to think about. So we're looking for things that people can do today to change their situation. You know, there is HUD-3 programs. There are USDA programs. There are a lot of programs, a lot of things that people can do today to help them with what's going on. It doesn't matter what the history was if you're not doing anything today to start changing your current situation for tomorrow. All 3 apply. Gotta know your history. You gotta take action today for a better tomorrow. So I want to say peace to the new subscribers. I want to say peace to the Toxins Assembly silent majority that's out here giving us our numbers. And I also want to say peace to the best chat ever. As of always, the panel, y'all make what I do so easy. I appreciate y'all. And with that, I'm going to relinquish the mic and turn it over to Bones H. McCoy. You got it, bro.
No problem. I'd like to appreciate the panel for all the work that they put in. I'd like to thank the chat for showing up, because without the chat, none of this would be possible. And let's remember, as we find this information, it does us no good, again, if we don't apply it, if we don't use it to better our situations. And let's stop being emotional. Let's stop letting the slightest thing of somebody disagreeing with us or somebody not agreeing to accept information that we show get us off our rocker. Change the narrative of the game. What we do today isn't for nobody's acceptance. What we do today is for 7 generations forward. Won't have to deal through this foolishness that we thread through today. So on that note, it's always fun when we get to kick it with the relatives. No place we'd rather be. Everybody have a very, very blissful day. And until tomorrow's Rising Show, peace.
Happy birthday, both. Peace, y'all.
Thanks for all that, y'all.
This episode of the Grand Rising Show was brought to you by Autochthonous Assembly, where the real work gets done. Autochthonous Assembly is a gathering of the minds that do the work. Now, for many of our first-time subscribers and first-time visitors, you may be wondering what Autochthonous Assembly are. You can find this information, our mission statement, and our core values on the website at autochthonousassembly.com/about. We are a nonprofit organization dedicated to raising up Indigenous American voices by using genealogy, also known as family history, or your family tree, which is the study of families and the tracing of their lineages and history. Genealogists use oral interviews, historical records, genetic analysis, and other records to obtain information about a family and to demonstrate kinship and pedigrees of its members. Our core values are the foundation of our company, which is essential to our success and serve as a lens through which we evaluate every business decision. Those core values are, but are not limited to, integrity, which is knowing and doing what is right; respect, which is treating others the way you want to be treated; responsibility, which is embracing opportunities to contribute; and servant leadership, which is serving the common good. Now, at Autochthonous Assembly, we have goals here. And our first goal and foremost of the reason why we do everything that we do is to ensure that we help you do your genealogy and connect back to your tribe and find out where you are from. Everything that we do from the standpoint of the Grand Rising Show and all the information that's posted on the website is dedicated to that one specific purpose: helping you find your genealogy, find your relatives, find your family so that you will know exactly who you are. And if you choose to, tap into your tribe, whether that tribe is a Native American tribe, an American Indian tribe, whether it's allowing you to determine which house in Africa that you belong to, or what clan of Scandinavia or Europe or France that you belong to. Either way, our goal is to do just that, help you find out who you are so you know exactly where to start. We're not here to tell you who you are, and we're not here to tell you who you are not. We're just here to help you discover your beginnings. Another one of our missions is to help you become financially independent so that you can help your generations for the next 7 generations and be able to put a stable foundation for you and your relatives. And if you should choose to use this information that we provide free of charge to help not only yourself, but your community and your tribe, then we will do everything in our power to make sure that gets done as well. And remember, our goal here is to make sure that we help you get exposed to this information to put you in the best situation possible. So now what I'm going to do now is return it back over to the panel to see if there was anything I missed, and I will go ahead and get set up so we can get ready and get digging into this information. Panel, take it away.
Warning, warning, warning. Hard hats, pickaxe, shovels, boots required.